I miss the new Kanye, straight out the blue Kanye, messy but good Kanye, that changed the world Kanye. I hate the now Kanye, the MAGA dupe Kanye. Alright, I'll stop. I was leading somewhere. I have the rest of the verse written out. I'll spare you. But it was going to end with something that said something like, because nobody loves Kanye more than Professor Skye. Okay, I am a huge Kanye fan. If you've been watching this channel, you know that I don't love Kanye just before graduation or just before The Life of Pablo. I actually like him more after graduation than before. I have a black velvet portrait by the great artist Bruce White hanging in my house. Do you? All right, that's how big of a fan I am of Kanye West, the artist currently known as Ye. Maybe he's back to Kanye West. I can't figure it out. You can tell me in the comments. And it's with some reluctance and some sadness and some hesitation that I say what is fairly self-evident, which is that Vultures 2 is the worst Kanye West project that has ever been released by a country mile. It makes Vultures 1 look like Donda. So when I say thank you for auditing the Always Positive New Music Review Show, you're going to notice that Always Positive is not there. But listen, this show is not just about positivity, it's also about art. It's about treating artists seriously, and I am going to be treating Kanye West seriously enough to say that this is not very good, and I'll get into why. I'm not just going to dunk on it and say a bunch of reactionary stuff about AI. I just want to remind you, that like when I say it makes Vultures 1 look like Donda, this is my copy of Donda. I think Donda was the best album of 2021. I think Kids See Ghosts was the best album of 2018. I still think, even with this bad album, that he is the greatest artist on planet Earth. Even an album like Donda 2, which I think is the easiest comparison to this, even Donda 2, you had the stem player. You had all these interesting things going on. You had bangers after bangers after bangers. But, I don't want to compare it to Donda. I don't want to compare it to Graduation, because the thing with an artist like Kanye is he's constantly growing and constantly evolving. And that's the reason why most people give up on him, because most people don't want their artists to grow and change. All right, that's what ends up happening. You just say, I wish you were the same. I wish I missed the old Kanye. That's why I say I miss the new Kanye. But I'm trying to compare this to Vultures 1, a project which I don't think is an S-tier Kanye project, but I looked back at it. I looked down the track list. Don't Die, Carnival, Paid, Paperwork, Hood Rat, Beg Forgiveness, Problematic, all great songs, which I would put up there as quality Kanye West songs worthy of the name. Now, the problem with Vultures 1 is, the highs were pretty high, but the lows were pretty low. With Vultures 2, the main issue is that the highs are low, okay? I'm not super tall. I'm like 6'1", so I don't hit my head all the time. But sometimes you'll go to someone's house and they'll have a basement. If you're from the West Coast, a basement is like a little room that they put underground. Sometimes when you go down to people's basements, they have like these little, like very low clearance. And this whole album is just me just hit my head going, damn, that was supposed to be higher. Oh, there's so much promise in this beat. Oh my God, damn, that hurts. And listen, I know, I've talked a lot about the ethics of discussing Kanye West's work, okay? I've talked a lot about it. Please see my video on Vultures 1, the first maybe 15 minutes I talk about it. Please see my video about not talking about Kanye as a kind of, story. Actually, this is... a lot of people are talking about Terrence Howard and like sort of dunking on him for having all of these bad theories and saying how this proves what celebrities do. No, don't laugh at Terrence Howard. The man is unwell. He's sick. He is legitimately delusional. And it's just the problem is that he has a platform. So I spit on Neil deGrasse Tyson for dunking on a very unwell man. You might as well just go in to a mental health ward and just pick fights with people and say, I know that you're not Jesus and Napoleon because Jesus and Napoleon died a long time ago. Way to go, Neil deGrasse Tyson. The point is this. I don't want to be Neil deGrasse Tyson. I don't want to sit here and go through all of the ways. And this is the main question. So I don't know. It popped up yesterday. My YouTube colleague Anthony Fantano was talking about whether or not Vultures 1 was reviewable, and he just said in sort of a throwaway line that Kanye West is not a good person. I don't accept that premise. Okay? I don't think the question is that he's not a good person. I don't think we can tell if he's a good person or not. He is an unwell person. Okay? He is not well. So that's my little caveat for discussing him in general, for criticizing him, the way in which we criticize him. Much like Terrence Howard, he is an unwell person in the public eye. And unwell people in the public eye, they are not treated well. Especially, if they're women, Britney Spears, and especially if they're black celebrities. I could start listing them, but this video is long enough. So, with all that out of the way, I love Kanye. I think he's unwell, and it's complicated to discuss him at all. What's the worst sin that a Kanye West album could have? Now, you might be sitting there saying, like, bad, mid. No. The worst thing that a Kanye album can be is empty, is boring, is you poke it and there's nothing there. That's my problem with this album. It doesn't have heart. It doesn't have head. It doesn't have heat. I don't know what this album is about emotionally. It's not particularly smart. It's not pushing things in new directions, This is my semi-famous, but not famous enough for people to buy merch of it, avant-garde-ometer for rap beats that I developed, which, this should be called the Kanye-ometer because he has pushed rap beats so far. There isn't a single beat on this album that gets off of a bit odd, and most of it just kind of stays in stock. There's no head to this album. This isn't like a smart album. This isn't like a challenging album in any way. And also, I don't feel there's any heat. This doesn't feel vital. This doesn't feel even like Vultures 1 did, where it's like, wow, what's happening? This great mega genius, the greatest genius in whatever, in the 21st century music, right? It's just, the narrative, it's sort of predictable, boring sins and very rote repentance. You don't believe on either side. You just feel empty. I just feel unmoved. And that's the problem. Kanye has always moved me, and that's a personal thing. So maybe you're sitting there and you're saying, this album's dope. Have you heard Slide? Have you heard, it's awesome, and that's great. Maybe it moves you. But it really does not move me. And that's the first time that a Kanye West album has not moved me since I wrote off 808 and Heartbreak the first time I heard it. Now I listened to it again, and now that album moves me greatly. But he always moves me. Either in my heart, in my head, he gets me going. So why? Let's do a forensic analysis, okay? I'm going to give you a list of 3 reasons why this album doesn't move me. Number 1, the guest rappers and producers. The problem is this. To a certain extent, Kanye is coasting off of the fumes of his greatness. That people work with him despite the public outburst, despite the fact he's so clearly unwell. People work with him despite the fact that he is who he is. And it used to be that if anyone worked with Kanye, they brought their absolute A game, their absolute best. Totally, here you go, let's go, give you the absolute best. Is that what's happening on this album? Are these producers, most of whom are like, who? What? Who? Like, you'll look at a track list and there's like 8 people, and like, even if you pay a lot of attention to rap, like, you don't really know more than half of them. They're not bringing their A game. These guest appearances, I don't know. I guess Lil Baby's verse is pretty good. It's not hurricane good, but it's pretty good. Like, Future is asleep in the back of his car with an eye mask on while he's recording these verses. It's just and this is the diminishing returns. That's the thing. He's coasting. And listen, Vultures, Donda was great, but it wasn't Yeezus. And Donda 2 was great, but it wasn't Donda 1. And Vultures 1 was great, but it wasn't Vultures 2. And now we have Vultures 2. And it doesn't have the same feel. Also, where is JPEG Mafia? JPEG Mafia worked on Vultures 1, and if you actually study before and after, he saved a lot of it. But not only that, he brought that vitality. He brought that thing where people who work with Kanye because they know he is the greatest living artist on planet Earth. That's the kind of people you want working with him. And why did this album release 2 days after JPEG Mafia's did? Why do him dirty like that? Like, what the hell? You know? That was my last review, was on I Lay Down My Life For You. And if you don't know, that album is far superior to this one. Not even close. But I'll talk about that in a second with some fancy art history talk, okay? Yeah, you can look forward to that. Actually, let's get to that. And number 2, rap is a competitive art, and he is getting beaten by his students. This year has been a great reminder. Never, ever get it twisted how important and influential Kanye West is. No matter how much I'm saying this album is not it, Chief, it doesn't really matter because the people who replace him, to a large extent, could not have done any of what they did if it were not for him. But listen, you want ambitious scope? A struggling egomaniac reconciling his best instincts with his worst instincts? Innovative family man who's trying to find his place in his own family, who's trying to produce and blend genres and move things forward? Might I suggest Childish Gambino, Bando Stone and the New World? I know not a lot of people love that album. That's okay. I'll wait. I'll wait till you realize that was a great album, because I know that's a great album. I know that album does so many things that you want Kanye West to do. And what if what you really want is this stuff? What if you want the guy who brought you Send It Up, the guy who brought you Love Lockdown, the guy who changed the entire landscape of rap music more times than not? Well, then you got to get that JPEG Mafia album. Just the exciting production at the end, and the samples and the drums and the feeling and the strings and the instruments and the collaborators and the whole thing and the life and the move it forward. Take this art and move it forward. It's not Kanye right now. But let me get back to my initial thing, because this is always positive, and while you're sitting there, and a lot of you are Kanye haters, and you're saying, wow, Skye finally stopped meat riding. I don't meat ride, okay? I observe meat. That's what I do, okay? If the meat is wonderful, I say that is wonderful meat, okay? And this meat right here, this is 3 days past its sale date at Food Lion, okay? But let's think about JPEG Mafia and Kanye. Let's think about Childish Gambino and Kanye. And let me just take you to art history town, okay? Let's think about Caravaggio and Rubens. Okay, let's think about them around the year 1610. So in 1610, this is a painting by Caravaggio, and it's fine, it's good. The colors aren't super there. There's kind of lacking in emotion. A lot of what made him such a great artist isn't really there. The same year, oh my God, look at what Rubens is doing. Look at the depth of color, the depth of field, the perspective, the emotion, the clarity of line, There's like no comparison between these. This looks like positively amateurish next to Rubens' work. And it's the same year. It's 1610. All right? But don't forget, this is Caravaggio. This is what Caravaggio brought to the world. That kind of theater-like setting, these deep shadows, this kind of diagonal composition, this kind of dynamism. There would be no Rubens if there was not Caravaggio. So yeah, in 1610, in 2024, I'm getting to that. In 1610 and 2024, we might look and say, oh my God, Kanye's washed. Kanye's washed like Caravaggio was washed, okay? It's still pretty good, but it is not worthy of his legacy. All right, now I just messed up my computer. Okay, good. I don't know. What did you think of that metaphor? Do you get what I'm saying here? There's a whole school, actually. They're called the Caravaggisti. There's a whole school of artists who just followed in the footsteps of Caravaggio and tried to do what he did because he just died too early. So, don't forget, no singular... Okay. I love hyperbole, you know that. I'm the Super Bowl of hyperbole. But I still think, while I'm thinking about how to contextualize Kanye West, I think no singular human being in human history has been more culturally impactful than Kanye West. No singular human being has been more impactful. A lot of movements have been impactful. A lot of those movements with people together have been impactful. But that's just what I'm saying. I don't know who might come close. I don't know. I guess Dylan, Michael Jackson, maybe. Even then. Maybe Warhol. Even then. Okay, Shakespeare. Probably Shakespeare. That's what I'm saying here now. So those are two reasons, okay? And number 3. It's just badly made. It's just poorly assembled. It's a Cybertruck. It's just like, who put the... I saw a Cybertruck the other day, by the way. I thought they looked cool on the internet. I did. I know I'm a liberal and I'm supposed to make fun of Cybertrucks, but I'm like, man, I'm not going to front. Those things look great. I saw it in person. It looked stupider than the car from Time Cop. It was the stupidest looking car I've ever seen. I couldn't believe how stupid that car looked. Anyways, this album is just poorly put together. It's just got production problems everywhere. And I'm not talking about mixing. I don't care about badly mixed albums. I really don't. An album has to be so poorly mixed for it to bother me. I know that's the hip thing to say. Oh, what about the mixing? I'm saying like there's no like brave choices. The album doesn't have any real flow. Like the songs rarely go somewhere. Not only are they like not modular, they just don't move. Like there'll be a song and I'll hear it and I'll be like, all right, yeah, you got me back, and then you don't. Then you don't got me back. Then I'm just kind of, that was, and I don't want to be with a Kanye song. Now, I might be on the first listen or the second listen. I've listened to this album like 15 times since it came out. I keep poking it with a stick. Do something. Move me. And it doesn't. And listen, I don't know all of the backstory. Even though I'm on the Good Ass Sub. Props to Good Ass Sub. I'm on there, what's it called? What's that social media thing I don't know how to use? Discord. Okay? I don't go on Discord ever. I haven't been watching every one of Leaky's episodes, I'm not like a super fan. So like I'm not sitting here saying like this version of Skye City pales in comparison to the one that was released in August of 2022 at the listening party in the wreck of the Titanic. No, none of that, right? Like I just hear what I hear. And I don't like what I hear. And when it comes to the whole like release thing, that's the other thing is, man, like he gaslights you because you don't know what you're listening to. Because like I listen to the album over and over again, and then every time I listen to it, sometimes I hear something different, and then I'm like, did he just change the mix on this? Did he just take out a minute of that song? Like you just get mixed up, and then okay. So there's the two things, right? This is the problem. Not only is he coasting on fumes in terms of the quality of his collaborators, it's the goodwill. So in the past, when he does something and it's like, what the hell is this? I don't really know if I buy this. This seems a little bit weird to me. He has the goodwill because you remember listening to 808 and Heartbreak and saying this is trash, and then listening to 808 and Heartbreak and saying this is trash, and then listening to 808 Heartbreak and saying this is the greatest thing I've ever heard and this is going to change my life and pop music forever. Okay? But like, so in the past, when he changes things, it's sort of like, wow, this is interesting. He's figuring out a way to use this technology to his advantage. He's got this sort of artistry, this kind of like really smart and funny and insightful artistry in his ability to change and react to the technology as it exists. Instead, it just feels like a so-called AAA game company that like releases a video game that they know is broken and unfinished. And they give a roadmap. And like in 6 months, this video game will have all of the things that we advertised it will have. Like it just feels like he's just fixing things and releasing things when they're broken. He doesn't have my goodwill anymore. And I'm not even going to get into the AI aspect. I understand there's at least one AI verse, potentially 2 AI verses on this album. I'll talk about that in a second. But it leads into the largest problem of why am I unmoved? Okay, that's the question. In case you forgot, the question I'm trying to answer with all of this horse hockey is why am I unmoved? And maybe you, okay? I know it seems really like, personal, but I'm trying to like, take you through my experience, take you through my perspective as a Kanye superfan, as someone who literally has a Kanye West Christmas ornament that I put on my tree, okay? Like, the main thing that makes me unmoved is, what is this album about? Like, what's it about? Every Kanye West album is a self-portrait. That's the game with Kanye West albums. It's, how is it a self-portrait? That was how I reviewed Donda. That's how you make sense of this gigantic mess of a track list, okay? That's how you make sense of that, is you understand this is his self-portrait of his family falling apart, of him changing his place in culture, all those things. Vultures 1, for all of its flaws, is a pretty compelling divorced guy story. But what's the story of Vultures 2? What, like, he's like heartfelt, but also he's like a scuzzbag who passes around women like a bucket of chicken? It's just like, what's the story, man? And then you throw in old songs, so there's no cohesion at all? Like, what are you doing? What is this about? Who is this for? What does it mean? What does this tell us about Kanye West? If not, like, maybe that's just where he is. I don't know. And don't you dare tell me in the comments what you're going to do. Bro, thanks for joining us. We've known that Kanye is washed since Life of Pablo. I'm not there with you. I'm not on your team. I'm not leaving Kanye. I'm just observing that he made a bad album. You know? Damn. My hope is that this is like Amazing Spider-Man 2. If you don't know, Amazing Spider-Man were a series of movies starring Andrew Garfield about the Spider-Man character, and they were going to make 3 of them. They set up the third one so hard in Amazing Spider-Man 2. Amazing Spider-Man 2, super underrated movie, because it was filmed in Rochester, and they tried to make the streets of Rochester look like New York City. It's the only time in the history of humanity that you've ever confused Rochester with New York City. Hey, is that the Liberty Pole in New York City? But they totally set it up, like, they walk through and you see, like, the vulture's wings and the whole thing. And it's, like, setting up, just, we're done. We're done. We're done, Kanye. We're done, Ty. This was fun, sort of, not really, kind of. Let's not have Vultures 3. And because this album is so poorly constructed, I am going to have a 4th reason in my list of 3 reasons why this album doesn't move me. Not only do I not know where Kanye is emotionally, but number 4, where's Kanye? Where's Kanye? Where is Kanye? You look at the producer list. Where is he? He's not on a lot of these songs. Okay, I'm going by Genius's convention of where they list the producers. I know that on some places he's listed as a producer on everything, but if you go by Genius, and I trust them more than just kind of like random production credits, on 7 of the 16 tracks, he is not even a co-producer. Okay? That's a lot. And a lot of the other songs, he's like the 3rd or 4th out of 8 producers. It's just missing his vitality. It doesn't feel like an old Kanye album. And I'm going to go further and say it doesn't even feel like a new Kanye album. To the point where it's not even like, just a little side note here. Like, listen, we all have to admit, hey, no matter what you think about Donald Robinette Trump, the man gives amazing speeches. He is an entertainer. He is engaging. He knows how to get people talking about him. He knows how to get people going. He knows how to get them going well, get them going poorly. The thing about Donald Trump is that he's irreplaceable, right? And that's what the Republican Party is realizing. And they keep throwing duds to try to do what he does, try to be Trump without Trump, and they can't do it because it's Trump without Trump. This album, I think, in my opinion, Vultures 1 is very much kind of Trumpy Kanye, where he's, the kind of random anti-Semitic stuff, and he's being challenging, he's integrating all these things. This album It's like DeSantis, or worse, it's Vance. It's a J.D. Vance album, you know? It's like you think it's the new scandalous, whoa, everyone, all eyes on me, but instead it's just kind of weird. It's like some like weird family messaging, but like you don't believe it. It's like there's so much changing personality and perspectives that you just kind of go, there's no there. Now listen, I want Kanye to be Kanye. I don't want him to be Trump. But I'd rather him be Trump than be J.D. Vance. And this whole album is very low energy, very weird. Now, I accidentally showed you my next visual image, but it's important because I reserve the right to completely change my opinion on this album. It may come the end of the year that I say Vultures 2 is the best album of the year, even though I'm saying it's so bad. I'm telling you why, because with all great artists, and Kanye is great artists, their best work, you initially reject it, but you then eventually say, Rick, you son of a bitch, I'm in. Okay, that happened to me with Random Access Memories. That happened to me with Yeezus. That happened to me with Kid A. Okay, that happened to me with every single Kanye album since 808 and Heartbreak. Every single one. At a certain point where I said, yay, you son of a bitch, I'm in. But I don't think it's happening, okay? I've given this album all sorts of shots. I've listened to it at the gym. I listened to it with my baby. I listened to it with my teenager. Listened to it with my wife. I listened to it while cooking pancakes inside. I listened to it while grilling outside. I listened to it while I was just staring at all the lyrics on Genius. I've done all of the things that I normally do to really try to see, really dig deep and say, is this going to make me say, yay, you son of a bitch, I'm in, and I just don't think so. I just don't think so. But hey, I gotta admit, while I was grilling last night, grilling up a little steak and some corn, it was good. Super Suburbo dad. I was kind of like, ooh. I kind of like, what song is this? River. I thought I didn't like River. So who knows? It might happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but if there's one thing I want you to take away from this analysis, it's that the way to dislike a great artist's worst work is to appreciate that great artist while denigrating the great work, the subpar work, right? It is an act of honesty and love when you listen to something and say that's not it. Now, on top of all that, there is, of course, the limiting factor of everything with Kanye, which is that I don't enjoy listening to him anymore. I still think he's the greatest artist. He still probably had more influence on me musically with how I understand music than almost anybody throughout my entire life. I still think he's the greatest artist on planet Earth, but I don't like listening to his music. You know, it's like, and this is the part where I would hold up the complete Harry Potter. You know, I have complete Harry Potter in like 2 different editions. I have the audiobooks, which is how I like to listen to them, with the goddamn genius Jim Dale. You know, like, I love Harry Potter. I started the Harry Potter group at my school. You know, like I'm the faculty mentor for Dumbledore's Army. You know? Like, I taught a class on advanced grammar in French, and I just use Harry Potter, but I don't enjoy it. I don't buy the merch. I don't like Dobby. Like, I just don't enjoy it anymore. It's just not fun. It's not saying it's not good. It's great. Who can believe that such a brilliant woman, such a brilliant author, could make $1 billion out of their mouth, out of their brain? Just amazing. Amazing work. Just absolute unbelievable. But I can't ride with it. I don't enjoy it. It's not, I have plenty of trans friends who have told me, Skye, don't worry about it. It's fine, I mean, you're not helping us by not listening to Harry Potter. And I know, I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it for me. It just bums me out. I just get, just leaves a bad taste in your mouth. So that's the problem. That's why I'm numbering all of the songs in this album out of 3. This is the Vultures 2 mid-scale, okay? And if it's 1, if it's the best, it's good. But again, I just don't need to listen to it. because that's the problem with Kanye's music. Since he's been so unwell that he's been saying things that are unforgivable and can't even really be excused by being unwell because they're so hurtful to other people. Even the best songs on this album, I don't need to listen to again, but still, that's 7. And then category 2 is fine, but I don't even want to listen to them. Like, I heard them and they're fine. They're not the worst thing. They're not 3. Just, I kind of regret that I listened to them at all. So you see that, basically half and half, fine and bad. So let's go through the album, song by song. Now that I've given you the 3 reasons why this album doesn't move me, let's start with the first track, which is probably the best song on the album, because it feels like it's a song off of Vultures 1, okay? Slide, produced by Kanye, Wheezy, Fred again, Apollo Parker, Rider on Crack, London on the Track, Ayo AA, and Lester Nowhere. Starts off with the THX sound, kind of a weird cross between the THX sound and the Phantom of the Opera. And hey, Dr. Dre already used the THX sound on the Chronic 2001. That's okay. Part of the problem of this album is that the shtick, Ty Dolla $ign's shtick of just being a real scumbag who just treats women poorly, it's just like, all right, man. Like, I was able to ride with you for 1 album. Do I have to do 2 albums? Of pretty girl, all she ever do is take his selfies. She only effing with it because I'm wealthy. Just like, all right, I get it. You don't really care about women, and they don't have any value except for their sexual usability by you. I get it. Do I have to listen to it again? To do another album of this mean-spirited, misogynistic stuff? Like, I love Ty Dolla $ign. I think he has one of the best voices in music, really. Like, just ethereal, just heavenly, beautiful, wonderful. And then, sort of about like stealing your girl when your man ain't loving you right, somebody else will, I'm taking you home tonight. And even the term slide, just like slide in. Like, I get it's like a sexual reference, and it's also about like sliding in on someone's relationship. And I also think it's like sliding into DMs, like slide into Millie Bobby Brown's DMs. I don't know. It's just kind of gross. But then these killer drums come in over Kanye's verse. And don't forget, we have the J.R. Funk's Get Up in the back, kind of throwing you back to some older new Kanye. And Kanye's doing his like overpronounced style. And there's this great which is it like a Houdini sample or a Houdini sound alike? And there's all this great rhythm going on in the back here. And you're close. You're close to saying, God damn it, I'm in, when you listen to the song the 5th time. Then you remember the rest of it. But this is not bad. But it still doesn't move me. It just doesn't. I don't know. The highs are low on this album. Okay? This is not the kind of song you put it on and you just go, oh man, he did it again. He did it again. How did he do it again? How does he keep doing it again? You can't keep getting away with this. That's what I wanted to say when I listened to this album. But instead, I just kind of said, Time Moving Slow, where, according to the producer list, he is the 5th out of 7 producers. Fia Man, Ayoyaya, Azul, Nathan Butts, Kanye, Shadow, Legendary Trackster. And this song is just, this is the thing, like, normally when Kanye, like, chops things up and things don't come together, like, I see it, I see it. I'm like, yeah, man, I got it. He's got all these things coming together, and who else could put it together but Ye? Who else could make this all work? It sort of works. The highs are mid, The Sunday service choir to start, and these cool drum sounds, and some piano comes in later, and I don't mind. I actually kind of like Ye's verse here. It was double R's. It was Range Rovin with the Rocky Roly Rolls Royce Rough Rider anthem just to drop. Like, that's fine. That's kind of like playing around with double R's, which a lot of people do. But I like any reference to the Rough Riders. That's cool. Reach for the popcorn. Oops, that's my C word for a penis. That's a reference to the movie Diner with Mickey Rourke, where he puts his penis in the popcorn and then the woman reaches. It's actually technically SA, just so you know. Times have changed. Whatever Mickey Rourke could do in the 80s, don't do now. That should be a little... I'm going to make a t-shirt that says, whatever Mickey Rourke could do in the 80s, don't do now. Okay? That's the PC police. All right? Got my heart broke. I like that B word a lot. It's like, what? Like, you heart broke and time moving slow. Like, what's it about? Like, so you love this woman. She broke your heart and time's moving slow and doesn't really come in. And I like the way Ty comes in. I really enjoy it when they go together. And then, like, he has another verse that's not about the heartbreak or time moving slow. This verse is about him, like, needing to be understood and his greatness as an artist, which is usually what I like, and feeling like Jig in his prime, saying he feels like Jay-Z in his prime. But it's like, dude, you're not in your prime. You're not in your prime. And again, I think Kanye's prime was 2013 to 2021, okay? That's my prime. I'm not sitting here saying, graduation. I'm saying new Kanye. But in the end, again, it's that meme with the poking with the stick, with the dead body. Do something. That's what I'm saying to my heart. Do something. Feel something. I don't feel nothing. All right. I do kind of feel something with track 3, Field Trip. But he's not even one of the producers listed on here. Wheezy, Desroy, and the legendary Trackster. But this song basically rules despite Kanye. Because it does a lot of what Donda did, which is just get a lot of modern, popular, young talent and get them to do interesting stuff. Now, I'm not saying that, he's an effing colonizer like Drake, because he gives so much back to the culture and to the people he does it with, and it's not just that. But still, it's a little bit like that. We have to admit, it's a little bit like that but anyways. Just Cardi is tired and awesome, as he always is. My daughter was like, it sounds like he just ran a marathon. I think he did. I did. I think Playboy Cardi is a marathon runner. I think he doesn't do any drugs. I think he just runs marathons and then gets on the mic. They did a cool thing where they got Don Toliver to sing here. And I just want to give Ty Dolla $ign credit for, this is a pretty, what do you kids say, Sigma move? like allowing a different singer rapper on your album, because the way that Don Toliver is singing here is not a way that Ty Dolla $ign can sing. And it's just weird though. Like, so much of this album is like trying to recapture the magic of Vultures 1, when the magic of Vultures 1 realistically wasn't that magical. So like the chorus that Don Toliver is singing is "Ride it just like I ride my bike, take her on a field trip," this kind of like ride thing that's like very kind of carnival, like the song Carnival. And okay, Kanye, listen, I'm not saying it's bad, but you can easily make quiche with cheddar. Quiche is not that hard to make. It's kind of fancy. It's not that hard to make, but it's a cheese-based food. So you can easily have, probably the most simple and most common quiche you will find anywhere in America is broccoli and cheddar. So you can't correct someone by saying, that's not cheddar, it's quiche. But that doesn't matter. That's a fun line. That feels to me like the truest Kanye line on the entire album. That's where he feels like the most actual human being Kanye, saying, that's not cheddar, that's quiche. And then he says, we're not rich, we're riche. Kanye, dude, check in with me, would you? Hey, JPEG Mafia just clowned on Kanye, and that's how he got to produce some on Vultures 1. So allow me to... You need some cultural check, especially if it comes to anything French. You come to me, Kanye, because the term riche in French only refers to people's mind with nouveau riche, meaning people who got a lot of money and don't know how to use it and don't have any taste and don't have any class. The problem that you had, Kanye, is that everyone treated you like nouveau riche in 2013 when you went to Fashion Week, and they all just thought you had a lot of money but no fashion sense, and so you had to literally, through your own work and fingernails, and just you had to like straight up change all of fashion from the outside against their wills, massacring the gatekeepers and taking over the entire fashion industry with your ethos and vision. So like no one says like I'm riche, like anyways. And then okay, it's so close. It's so close. Because the beginning of this album is really strong. not the first time you listen. If you've only listened to this album one time and you're like, Skye, dude, you're still Skye, bro. You're still meat riding, yay, bro. Bro, you're still meat riding. I'm gonna put that in the comments, bro. Bro, you're still meat riding, yay, bro. Okay, I'm close. I'm close to saying son of a bitch you're in, because what does Kodak Black rap over? Machine Gun by Portishead? Has no one else thought of using Machine Gun by Portishead? Okay, I argue this is, maybe the best album of its decade. Unbelievable. Portishead 3, just an unbelievable album. I was close to doing an entire video. At some point, I wanted an entire video just about the song The Rip and the impact that it's had on modern music. But that's a wild sample, and that's great. And this is the thing. When it comes back from the... When it comes back from that into the normal beat, I'm in. That point right there, I'm in. That is new Kanye. That is what Kanye can do. Now, he's not doing it because he's not even on the goddamn producer list, but he still gets credit because he's the maestro. He's the person who puts everything together. Like I said, he's like George Lucas. George Lucas did not design Darth Vader's helmet, did not design Darth Vader's sound, did not act in Darth Vader's suit, but George Lucas created Darth Vader. This is a Kanye song, and that moment, it's great. And then we get to Fried, and this is where the album loses me completely. It loses me completely. This is, I think, where it's really clear. Those first two songs were ones. This is our first two. Now listen, I love Carnival. I think it's a very interesting song. And here we have the Milan Ultras of the Kurva Nord. And if you haven't seen it, I did an entire video about the popularity of Carnival where I explained that the popularity of using the Ultras is very interesting. I think it serves two purposes. One, it reminds us that we want to be communal, that we want songs that are anthemic, that make us feel like we're together in reaction to the difficulty and the trauma of COVID. Great. The other thing that it does is it's a little wink and a nod to Nazis and neo-Nazis, because there are a lot of Nazis and neo-Nazis in the Ultras of Milan. In most soccer clubs, there are fans in the stands, and they have certain sections of that fans, and not everybody in that section, not everybody in the north side of the Milan Ultra Stadium are neo-Nazis, but some of them are. And I think that this is playing around with neo-Nazi aesthetics the same way it is to use a Burzum album cover, okay? So it does those two things. The difference is, on Carnival, it was awesome. On this, it's boring. It's boring. 4.5 minutes in, 8 minutes in, 12 minutes in, it feels like 18 minutes of wah, wah, wah. Okay, I guess that's 3 notes, not 2 notes. It feels like 2 notes. And the way that he overproduces it and this is my problem even on Carnival, he overproduces it, he overcompresses it, he over-records it, so it doesn't even really sound like a bunch of dudes. It sounds like a bunch of dudes through a computer. I don't know. And just the whole, I'm fried. It's like, I know, you work with Playboi Carti, but you're not Playboi Carti. That's the great thing about you. You produced Whole Lotta Red. You don't have to imitate it. And just this whole lyric, she given BJ's and I applied. She said she's starving, I ordered some fries. Then I ate the breast and then the thighs. Then I gave the rest to the guys. The idea of a job of blowing and I applied is sort of a funny old style Kanye joke, which is sort of okay. But then gave the rest to the guys. That's just that it's there's a line. Right? So as a cishet white male, I have a very high tolerance for edgelord behavior because of my incredible societal privilege, right? That's just the way it is. If you're super edgy and you don't really mind offensive jokes, it's probably because they can't touch you, right? You're lucky. But there's a line, even in that way, and that's just too far. Just debasing this person and then gave the rest to the guys. It's just, man. It leaves me unmoved. I'm unmoved. Carnival moved me. This did not. Next track is called Isabella, which is produced entirely by Kanye. What's great about this song is that, he does everything on here, He coordinates the sample, he finds the beat, and it's 4 seconds about buying shoes. It's a woman asking to buy shoes. That's an interesting thesis. So you're saying that women are only interested in you because you have money. Wow, dude. Jesus Christ, man. You gotta let the rest of the world catch up. Whoa. God damn, man. These guys are playing some 4D chess. So listen. Oh my God, they started off the album with that same thing too. Back when I was poor, they didn't want to mess with me. This is important stuff, you guys. You got to understand this. Kanye's a lyrical genius. He's an artistic genius. And he's telling us, and you just, oh my God, I never thought of it this way. If you're rich, sometimes women want money from you. I'm sorry, I'm wrong about this album. It's freaking genius. I've never heard this theme 10 times. How many times do I have to hear this theme? How many times do I have to hear it on this album? Give me something new, or give me something old that is, I am frail and I'm confused and I'm messed up. I don't care about women who want you to buy them shoes. I don't care about them. I appear to have woken up my family. Okay, and then we get to the song Promotion, and it's fine. Slow song, bumping bass. So that was the first 3, Isabella. And then we get to Promotion, featuring Future, Sleepy Joe Future. And listen, I'm not going to... I did look at Lyric Genius for this album, and I'm just going to give you Ty's opening verse as described by Genius. The girl is asking for ass shots, a way of enlarging one's butt without real surgery, a butt lift. Instead, or in order to receive it, Ty is ejaculating on her face. That's just what it is. Now listen, Ty Dolla $ign says in the song, we making love but we heartless. Okay, hey, there's an idea. There's some complexity. There's some moral complexity. Heartlessness, you're admitting your heartlessness. That's interesting. If you're going to be a piece of garbage, at least describe it and talk about it. But then, nope, that's it. That's the whole thing. Future comes on. He's kind of boring. Kanye comes on. He's saying, how she was mine first and I gave her to you and then you're mine. I get it. Women are looking for money and they're all buckets of chicken. But God damn it, it's boring. It's just boring. Boring, you old divorced prick. And then he has the audacity to throw in lines from Good Life, like we always do at this time. No, get Kanye's lyrics out of your mouth. Then we get to Husband, another regretful song. This is what I'm talking about. This is J.D. Vance rap. I actually made a meme and I saw it shared around. I'm super proud of myself. All you really need is a husband. Only thought you ever need is I trust him. Kanye West spends most of the album talking about how he mistreats women and he passes them around and he doesn't care about them. He spends so much of his time talking about how untrustworthy he is, how you can't believe him, how he lied, all those things. And then now here's a heartfelt song about take my ring. I've got a plan for good times. I got a plan for hood times. Dude, no, just no. Nobody marry. This song should have been called Ex-Husband, okay? That's what this, he's not ready for marriage, okay? Listen, I've been divorced. I'm not making fun of divorced guys. But if I made an album like this, I would not throw in the middle of it, girl, you really need is a husband. Maybe you do. Hey, you know what? He's not wrong. It's just not him. Because he doesn't have a plan. He isn't well enough. Okay? You might as well marry a badger, okay? like a badger saying girl, I love you. I won't tear out your face and dig through the garbage. What do badgers do? I don't know. There's just no... God damn it. And then we get to Lifestyle, which is in between 2 and 1. I sort of like this song. Ye apparently is not producing it either. It's Nico Baran and FNZ. It's kind of fun, like the mini bar, look at the hotel, because this is the thing about Lifestyle, because this is the thing, and oh my God, they're building on this fascinating theme, lifestyle. So these women, they want money, and prestige and power, and they can attain such power by performing sexual acts on successful rap artists. Now this, I'm sorry, I underestimated these geniuses again. I'm sorry. I'm just, Kanye, I'm not mad. I'm disappointed. But then when the levee breaks drums come in from Led Zeppelin, true story. My son's a great drummer, and when he was like 11 years old, he wanted to get a double bass drum pedal, and I said, I won't get you a double bass drum pedal until you can play When the Levee Breaks with 1 foot. He taught it to himself in like 2 days, and then I had to go get him a double pedal. It's a waste of money, by the way. No one ever needs a double pedal. You think you do, but you don't. Just get your right foot going, you know? And a cool kind of yap sample in the background, some cool kind of yay stuff, and then Wayne comes on, and I mean, he builds on the theme of, get this, women want a lifestyle. I like Ty here, and she wants the lifestyle, and then they bring back the husband. Okay, listen, hey. There's a chance. This is exactly the kind of Kanye move which would normally get a finger point from me. Would normally get me to say, you son of a bitch, I'm in. Having a weird interstitial part and then having a song and then putting that interstitial part at the end of that second song, that's cool, man. That's fun. That's a neat idea. That's not like... I mean, a lot of people I've seen, what's the point of this? But the thing is, it's at odds with the song. Because if what you need is a husband, then you're not trying to bang a rapper for a bag and a lifestyle. There's just no internal consistency. Then we get to by far the biggest disappointment. Produced by James Blake. The song's called either Maybe or Forever. I don't know which one. They keep changing it. Ty has his worst instincts. It's kind of bloopy. And then it's just like a straight lift of the song Maybe by Ketan Karosul. And I mean, I love James Blake. You know, James Blake and Yachty's album is great. Y'all are stupid for not liking that album. Seriously. You know, when we're talking about like we need Kanye in our life, that album fills in that hole quite a bit. But this, like a half-ass sample of another song, and not a, you know, like already on the last album, there was that song that, you know, was basically just a other song taken and redone, but still. And at the end of the song, Kanye has the unmitigated audacity to say, get up, like something's going to happen. But spoiler alert, nothing does. And then we get Bomb. No, I'll put it in 2. It's fine. I'm happy to have heard it once. But this is just a reminder, you know? So it's got Chicago and it's got North. It's got his 2 daughters and they're rapping. And in theory, I like that. But he's not even producing the song. It's produced by legendary Trackster. And he's kind of mumbling in the background. And it just kind of makes me think that based on his inability to properly medicate himself or whatever it is, that they probably associate him with kind of a weird kind of mumbling distance that you kind of hear in the background. And I guess it's cute that there's Japanese lessons, but listen, do you want to hear rappers integrating their children into their music in a way that's charming and interesting? Listen to the Childish Gambino album. His kid, Legend, is perfect on that album. It feels like a collaboration between father and son. It feels sweet. This feels like a sort of half-absent dad who's like, so, what have you been doing these days, North? Oh, taking Japanese lessons. Well, that makes sense, given the incomprehensible wealth and ability to travel that we have. Wouldn't it be fun if you did some Japanese rapping on my album? You know, it's fine. It's sort of cute, but like, I don't know, the kind of bratty stuff of like, I only wave to say goodbye, and it doesn't feel good for the kids. I guess that's the issue that I have. It doesn't feel like it's a happy memory. I do want to credit Folksy, F-O-K-S-I, on Genius. He annotated this. And when Chicago says, I like to go to the beach, I like the sun, it was annotated as this. The sun is a reference to the light and the heat waves generated by an atomic bomb. So I like the sun could mean that Chicago supports atomic weapons and that she, like her sister Northwest, that she is like her sister North, who previously sung that she is the atomic bomb. It's fun. Then we get to River. can't tell. I can't tell if it's good or fine. It's definitely not great. It's a nice beat, simple, young thud and thunk. Young thud. Young thud. Damn, dude. If I did like negative reviews, that would be pretty sick. Young thud. Young thug is solid. Solid. Not brilliant, but solid. You know, like Ye comes on, like too much hate, not enough love, free Larry, free Young Thug. It's a cool idea, and it gets really good actually. The second half of Kanye's first verse gets actually emotional, like the way the drums build. And this is YSL, not talking about Yves Saint Laurent. And it's nice, but still, it's just kind of empty. Like, it's kind of good. It's sort of getting there. And then we had this whole spiritual moment, and Charlie Wilson can't even save this thing. Dear oh Lord, if Charlie Wilson can't save your, holy water, take me to the river. Holy Father, forgive my sins. Holy water, free my friends, protect my sons, protect my daughters. I think that's the main difference, is that, this album is all this. It's all like acting bad and repenting and trying to figure it out. I believed it. I felt it. But I don't know if it's the boy who cried wolf or what it is, but just like, it just doesn't come together for me. These are some of his best instincts. Being against the injustices of the criminal justice system, his sort of cycle of sinning and repenting, and sort of depicting that in a Hank Williams-ish way. But again, I'm just unmoved. And then we get to 5:30, where, hey, listen, it's a great song. But Kanye, this isn't what you do. I didn't listen to Yeezus and get a demo from late registration thrown on there. That's what this is. This is an outtake from, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I don't want that. You are Kanye West. You make albums. You make self-portraits. You don't make scrambled together crap piles. Or if you do that album, the Good Summer album, whatever that one was, the silver one that came out, the one that's like a whole bunch of collection of singles where it was very clear that's what it was. I don't even have that album, even though I'm a big Kanye fan. I don't even have that album. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not like an album. That's like a collection of Lucy's, as you rappers like to say. So, this song's fine, but it doesn't fit here. It doesn't thematically fit. It doesn't sonically fit. It just... it's fun. Crystal Ball couldn't tell me if they leave again, problems too extra large to share with a medium. And it's a great song, a very interesting song about the difficulty of being married to Kim Kardashian. Is that what we're talking about still? And then the whole second part where he's just, you don't really love Ye, listen to Drake, bitch. This is the problem, Kanye. The people who you need to worry about are not the people who stopped listening to you and who are listening to Lil Baby or who are listening to Future. Those people are already gone. The people you got to worry about are the people who don't really love you and listen to Peggy and listen to Childish Gambino and listen to, hell, any of the other great rap albums that came out this year. And it doesn't even bother me that much that he's doing the kind of stuff, where he leaves his demo track, because that's an interesting idea. That's one of his styles. But I swear, I think he says something like, I hope you lose a kid. He just goes too far. It should be iconic, but it's just empty. Then we get to the song Dead. That's another 2. It's fine. I don't know. ATL Jacob, Wheezy, London on the track, Kanye not on the track. Future, man, Future, okay, so Future is like the king of the cold-hearted woman lines, effing an IG model, when I get through kicking her out, she's dead. Like, comparing your lover to an op, someone who you have to murder, it's just too much. It's just kind of boring. It's just a Ron DeSantis beat. Lil Durk has some energy, that's cool. Future's fine. Apparently Tesla is some kind of party drug, so I'm still on the lam on a Tesla. I don't know. Kanye's all mean again. 20 is the new 30, but you're still 30. It's just bitter. Apparently he replaced some weird anti-Semitic line at the end. I don't know. And then we get to maybe the best track on the album, Forever Rollin'. These blared out synths, this cool, Ewing sounds, and the drums are strong, and the beats are staggered, and there's a really great verse from Kanye. I don't know, Bananas on him, a little more personal, where he's talking about his life. Started hustling, we ended up rolling. Great atmosphere. Lil Baby's very strong here, very kind of hurricane-y. And then when he's on there, they take the drums out, which is a great move. Even though the drums are great, they take them out, and he weaves in with Ty Dolla $ign. And this feels like this could be what the album is. It really is. Like the way they just weave in together. And it's cool because like Ty Dolla $ign and Lil Baby are rapping about the importance of like having each other's back as men, you know, as like friends. Bro, we damn near raised each other. Never let them break up the gang. We got to stay together. However they planned it, I planned it better. Like that's a cool idea. It's not actually in keeping with what Kanye's rapping about. So the whole thing doesn't really stick together. But it's the closest thing to a great song on the album. That and Slide. Then we get to Me City. We get to Skye City. Now, I guess 530 was a Donda outtake because that was about Kim Kardashian. This is just a 2018 outtake, and it's just... I hate this. I hate this song. I hate it. I skipped to it because it has my name in it. I hate it. Ooh, child, things are going to get... No, don't take in that lame-ass song. I hate it. The AI thing... Like, I didn't know the AI thing, but I could tell the AI thing. I could tell it was missing. It sounded weird, and then it all made sense. And, oh, who's up in heaven? People have done that before. And Say Hi, the Prince was good, but, you know, I like this idea. Imagine you could visit your ancestors, all the people we lost. You could dance with them, be more united than Manchester, because my people are still dying over hand gestures. That's cool. And then we get, like, an old verse from Kanye where he's not AI, and he's, in fact, and he's talking about 2018 stuff, and it's all guitar-y, and it's, man, 070 Shake comes on. Don't bring in 070 Shake. 070 Shake is like, don't taint the memory of Ghost Town. She's wasted on here. She's just wasted. And I like the kind of weird drum changes and the affect, but it doesn't fit. What is this album about? The final track is called My Soul. There's so many producers. 88 Keys is here, but he can't save it. I like the faraway drum loop. I like how Ty's singing soulfully. I like the idea that this is about like prisoners being... So like some of the best stuff on this album is about the prison industrial complex, and I like that idea. But the song isn't all about that either. I mean, it is terrible that we're paying, that we're basically forcing people who are in jail through largely an unjust system to fight fires against their own will. You know, that's not great. But then like Kanye's verse is more about like his style. What if I start off the track, hum in the beginning, F up the middle part, and mumble the ending? You know? And it ends with the most Kanye lyric ever. We mass targeted, mass marketed, mass incarceration, mass in police stations, mass incorporated, fuck Adidas. Excuse me? So it's like global problem, global problem, global problem, global problem, petty little billionaire problem, right? Like that's what he ended up having, like trying to draw the parallel between him not being happy with Adidas and mass incarceration. But it's nice. You know, this is definitely a strong one. I'm happy that it exists. Having Big TC, you know, having the incarcerated relative of Ty Dolla $ign brother, you know, is great. And the church organ is in the back, and it's like a hint. It's like this is a hint. This and Forever Rollin' and Slide are a hint to what the album could have been, but super duper 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 isn't. These are my Patreons. They help me to buy new music. So I'm going to probably buy the Childish Gambino, and I'm probably going to buy the JPEG Mafia with the money that they give me every month, and also probably buy diapers, because I got a baby on the way, and that's pretty cool, and dog food. And actually, I have a toddler upstairs. And she I don't think she believes in the nuclear bomb. I also allow Patreons, or I ask Patreons if they would like a specific shout out on videos when I remember. And these Patreons all want shout outs. Doesn't matter what level you are. Arvin Mendoza, Alex Berry, Mabenikil. That might have autocorrected wrong. I apologize if it did. Zane Kordich, Dave Danesh, Maya Weberen, and Super Cami. Super Cami, who said this thing is definitely an album of all time. And Harlan T, who apparently that post was how they learned about this album. So there you go. I'm curious what you think. Do you think I'm going to change my mind and say, Kanye, you son of a bitch, I'm in? I don't think it's happening, but we can always hope. All right. Till next time, there's the camera.